It is my pleasure to introduce today's moderator, Ms. Ramya M.K. Ms. Ramya is a dedicated educator and technology expert with a decade of professional experience, seamlessly blending her expertise in electronics, communication, and English education. Her journey began as a lecturer in the Electronics and Communication Department at Bangalore College of Engineering and Technology. Transitioning into the corporate world, she contributed her skills to Hewlett-Packard, Bangalore, serving for 3 years in a dynamic and innovative environment. Her commitment to education and technology led her to become an innovation ambassador recognized by the Ministry of Education. Ms. Ramya M.K. has played a pivotal role in shaping digital education by serving as the SPOC for Microsoft for Education, earning the prestigious MIEE certification. With a remarkable academic portfolio,
I think Biju sir lost his electricity. Biju sir, are you there? Mr. Biju S. Pillai.
contributed her skills to Hewlett-Packard, Bangalore, serving for 3 years in a dynamic and innovative environment. Her commitment to education and technology led her to become an innovation ambassador recognized by the Ministry of Education. Ms. Ramya M.K. has played a pivotal role in shaping digital education by serving as the SPOC for Microsoft for Education, earning the prestigious MIEE certification. With a remarkable academic portfolio, she holds a postgraduate degree in English, alongside a B in Electronics and Communication, and B.Ed in English, showcasing her versatility across disciplines. Currently, she serves as the secondary coordinator at City Pride School, Moshi, Pune, where she continues to inspire students and educators alike, fostering a culture of knowledge, innovation, and personal growth. Hearty welcome, Ms. Ramya. Please proceed. The stage is yours.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Sir, may I proceed?
Yes, please. All the best to both of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you very much for that gracious introduction. A very good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm and cheerful welcome to all the educators and participants on behalf of Extramile Education and Training. Your presence this evening is a testament to your unwavering dedication to building a future-ready generation of learners. Extramile stands as a beacon of excellence in professional development, which is founded under the visionary leadership of Dr. Abdul Salam and is a proud initiative of Bharat Transformers and Academic Group. With a robust network of expert trainers, Extramile excels in providing customized online and offline trainings across the length and breadth of our nation. And I'm very happy to be a moderator of today's session. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. In today's session, we will delve into the critical area of tracking student progress and learn effective strategies to maintain student records and portfolios. But before the session, here are a few instructions. If you have any questions during the session, kindly post the same in the chat box. And to make the session more interactive, you may use a virtual hand button and wait for your name to be called out and unmute to ask your question. And to receive your certificate of participation, please fill in this feedback form, which will be shared at the end of the session, and we request you to stay with us until the conclusion. And before the session begins, it's my privilege to introduce the key figures behind BTAC, beginning with the visionary himself, Dr. Abdul Salam. A distinguished CBSE master trainer and resource person, Dr. Abdul Salam has made remarkable contributions to the field of education. He serves as an assessor of National Accreditation Board for Education and Training under the Government of India, and he is the founder and CEO of both Extramile Education and Training and Bharat Transformers and Academic Group. On behalf of all, I extend a hearty welcome to you, sir, and over to you for your words.
Thank you, Ms. Ramya, and good evening, everybody. Good evening, Sokini ma'am, our resource person today. And
Good
Biju
evening.
sir, Biju sir, I think he has left as the room is full. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Well, everybody is looking forward to this particular session as I have, received so many requests regarding how to, guide them with regard to the making of projects records and how to make portfolio and all. And this challenge was taken up by Sohini ma'am. So thank you so much. And she has prepared to the best of her abilities. We hope you will be able to, give justice to your expectations. We will be up to your expectations. Let's, listen to Sohini ma'am, and we will, post some model, projects and portfolios. So it is up to you to, take away these guidelines, and at the same time, you can also give us your inputs based on your experience, and let's have interaction at the end of the session so that we can be very clear how to proceed forth with project making and portfolio making. Thank you so much. Hearty welcome once again to each and everyone who has joined to Extra Mile Education and Training. Let's have a very fruitful, significant evening. Thank you so much. Over to Ramya ma'am. Ramya ma'am, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your invaluable words. Before we proceed with the session, it will be incomplete if I don't introduce Biju, sir, though he could not join due to technical error. I would like to introduce him. He is a veteran educator and he is an esteemed principal of Sri Chitra Public School, Trivandrum. So he will be joining in some time. Just because of the technical error, he is not able to join. Now, without much delay, it's my privilege to introduce our esteemed resource person, Miss Sohini Roy Biswas. So Miss Sohini holds a first-class master's degree in English literature from the University of Calcutta and B.Ed from Jivaji University. With over 14 years of enriching experience, she is a respected figure in English education. Her tenure as a PGT and head of English department at Amrita Vidyalayam, New Delhi is marked by excellence in both leadership and academic outcomes. She has been recognized for her commitment to excellence with a certificate of appreciation from the former Education Minister, Ms. Smriti Irani. And for 8 consecutive years, she has served as a CBSE evaluator for Grade 12 English. And currently, she is working at 21K School as a PGT English facilitator, continuing to inspire young minds. Ma'am, we are absolutely privileged and delighted to have you with us today. So over to you. Please take over the proceedings of the evening.
Thank you so very much. Dr. Salam, do I have your permission to present my screen?
Yes, of course, as usual.
Ms. Ramya, are you able to see my screen clearly?
Yes, ma'am, you're good to go.
All right. Thank you so much once again for that wonderful introduction, Ms. Ramya. And Dr. Salam, Mr. Biju, for bringing all of us together, for providing us with this platform where the best practices can be shared. Once again, good evening to everyone present here. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar on a guide to student project and portfolio making. I must apologize right in the beginning for I have a sore throat today. I hope that I am able to be, I'm audible to you very clearly, and you are able to hear me very clearly. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are so glad that you could join us. I'm sure many of you are, must be in the middle of summer vacation, and the commitment that you have shown to come forward and join the session, it shows that you are totally dedicated as an educator. And as Dr. Salam was mentioning, that I hope that I'm able to do justice to all the questions and the queries that people have and the educators have in their mind regarding portfolio making and project making. And once again, it's an open platform. Please feel free to come forward, give your expertise, give your suggestions to me as well, so that even I can benefit from this session. So without further ado, I think we are good to go, and let's get started and let's break the ice first. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to use the chat box, and let's kick things off in style with a quick and fun activity to warm up, right? In the chat, please share an emoji that shows how you are feeling today, and a teacher superpower that you wish you had. Okay, please go ahead. in the chat. For example, if you ask me, I would say that I prefer that look of silence, quote unquote, okay, where I'll not have to waste a lot of time silencing the class, making the class quiet before I can start my lesson. If I had that look of silence, that would be my superpower. I can already see a lot of responses pouring in. Please go ahead. Very good evening to all. Oh, wow. I love the emoji game. You all are feeling happy and excited about the session. That's so heartening. That's lovely. Okay, also do write, what would you like to be your teaching superpower? Anyone, any superpower that you think will make you more powerful as an educator? I love the emoji game. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. What would you like your teaching superpower to be, Ms. Ramya, if you were asked this question?
Definitely.
All right. What would you like? What would you like your superpower to be? Which superpower would you like to own as a teacher? I can already see a lot of emojis in the chat box. Thank you so very much. Yes, absolutely. Someone has written grading a lot of papers in about no time. Yes, grading papers can be a task, right? Okay, Miss Sandha has written to hypnotize children and superpower of reading children's mind. Wow, that would be a real superpower, isn't that so? Wow. Children should be happy with the teachers, right? Creating a happy classroom is the ultimate superpower that we all want. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving such a nice start to the session. Without further ado, let's move forward and have a look at what is the session itinerary. What are we going to look at in our session today? Okay, so the first thing that we will be talking about will be to set SMART goals for making a project or a portfolio, right? Unless the goals are SMART, probably the project will fall flat on its face, somewhere in between. Apart from that, we will also be talking about we will also be showcasing a few projects. We will discuss their merits and demerits. We will be talking about the ABCs of project making. We will extensively talk about how to select an appropriate topic, right? Because selecting a topic is vital to the success of a project. I have often seen that we select a topic wrong, and therefore the project doesn't come out, gives out its desired effect or desired outcome. Apart from that, we will be talking about taking up projects in middle school where the children are yet to develop their research aptitude. Other than that, we will be talking about portfolio making, which is a very integral part of the CBSE, the entire CBSE structure. And then I think the highlight of the event, highlight of the session, is going to be a quick crash course in, a crash course of a tool that is extremely beneficial and important, which helps us making projects or portfolios, grading them, and saving them in the right place. Everything is made very easy when we use this particular tool called Google Sites. All right, so let's move forward and let's see what are these SMART goals for a project. I invite Ms. Ramya to tell me what are the SMART goals for a project. Please go ahead, use the slide.
Yeah, so the first one is to be specific. So devise a clear and focused project on a chosen topic. The second is measurable, which includes set parts like visual report and presentations. Then it should be achievable. Use available tools and stay within skill level. And it must be relevant. Connect the project to what is being learned in the class. And it has to be time bound, which is the most important thing. Finish all work and submit by the given deadline. So these are the SMART goals for any project.
For any project, right? We might have seen, thank you so much, Ms. Ramya, you read it so beautifully. We have seen that, there are so many students who dive into projects with a lot of enthusiasm, only to lose direction halfway through and rush everything at the last moment, right? So here are the SMART goals where the SMART goals come in. For example, instead of saying, there are students who you will see that they're saying that I'll finish the science project soon. Now that is not a SMART goal, right? It doesn't have any specific aim. So instead of that, teach them to say, I will complete the research section of the project by Friday. And for that, I will be consulting these articles and I will be taking notes from them. So when we are asking our students to share their goals with us in this specific manner, You are also teaching them to set SMART goals, which are SMART as in they're achievable, right? They are specific and they're achievable. Moving forward, we will have a look at a flip book. Okay, this is actually a project created by one of the students. We have withheld all the specifications and all the the student information purposely, so that that is not shared with anyone. Now, when we have a look at this particular project, we are also going to see, we'll try to see and understand what are the merits and demerits of this particular project. So as you can see very beautifully, the child has started with a cover page, right? And she has written the index well, and it looks like she or he has included all the important components of this particular project. Okay, after that comes the acknowledgement and the certificate of completion. Let's move forward. The child has written the objectives of the project, which is welcome, and then the introduction to the project. Then he has laid down a gist of the project, what he is going to achieve through the project. So here he or she is trying to show how literature is impacted by war, right? If you look at the specifications or the objectives that the child has set, so he is trying to show the impact of war on literature itself, right? So he has nicely put together the result of war and the impact of war on human life, and how World War I and World War II have been absolutely devastating, right? And the death toll and all of that. And then he has written what is peace, because the topic, the poem that he has chosen, Keeping Quiet, is all about maintaining world peace. And then he comes to the last page where he has put everything together, right? Now, while I'll have to really dig in and read again and again to find out where he has included what, right? So the rest of the details were in place. But when it comes to the objective, probably we could have thought of making a project which is more organized in nature, right? Right after that, he has written the bibliography, and then he has ended the project, right? So this is one project that I wanted to show you, because this is a project that shows us how usually projects are made. But we have, as educators, we as facilitators or teachers, will have to guide our students better and help them to make better projects, so that the projects are purposeful and meaningful. Moving ahead, how can we do that? And for that, I have brought a beautiful case study that was recently shared in one of the channels, right? And I would like a volunteer to read out the case study to us, to the entire audience, and then we will have a quick discussion on this. May I have a virtual hand raised? Anyone, please go ahead, raise your hand, unmute yourself, and read us the case study that you can see on your screen. Anyone?
For a moment, Ms. Ramya, can you also
Yes.
please start recording? Sometimes I may get disconnected.
Oh, absolutely, sir. I'll try and do that. Ms. Ramya, you are going to do that, right?
Yeah, to your computer, not to the cloud.
Okay, Ms. Ramya, you are instructed to save it in your computer, right? So that we have the recording. Okay, may I quickly have a volunteer? Come on. It's a platform where we all share and we all cooperate with each other. Let's just read it together. Anyone, just raise your virtual hand. Miss Lata, are you there? Could you please read out the case study to us? I think Miss Sharmila has raised her hand. Go ahead, Miss Sharmila. Please unmute yourself, ma'am. Yes, Miss Sharmila, please go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah, Arya, a grade 8 student, created an impressive project on urban water conservation. She began with a clear and focused question: how can cities save water sustainably? To explore this, she researched local water saving practices and even interviewed a city officially to gain real world insights. Arya proposed an innovative solution, rooftop water gardens, and supported her idea with relevant data and examples. Her final presentation was well organized, using visuals and a short video to engage her audience.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sharmila, for reading it so beautifully and for volunteering. Here is a confetti shower for you. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about an ideal project, we are looking at more than just neat presentation. We are looking at a strong project which includes all the key components, starting with clear objective. Now, when we read this case study, can we find a clear objective? Yes, we can find a clear objective identified by the student. Then, for research and understanding, has the student explored the topic meaningfully? Yes, she has done a survey and research, so we can say that she has explored the topic meaningfully. Moving ahead, did the child do a reflection? Is there an authentic connection? Can the project be related related to real life or current issues? Yes, she has taken up an initiative and she is trying to implement the same thing at her home. Start the harvesting and do that at her home. Now, you see how this project is so very much different from the previous project that was showcased, right? That project was also beautiful. That project also showed a lot of effort. But we did not see this authentic connection or this reflection or this research and survey and connecting the whole thing to a real life issue, right? So when we are helping our students, it becomes important that the students are able to find a topic which is real life, which is relevant, and which is purposeful and meaningful. Now, from that, we come to the components of an ideal project. Now, this is something that has been laid down by CBSE itself, right? We very well know what are the components that a student is supposed to have in the project file that he or she makes. Now, in this connection, I would like to mention that a project file doesn't always have to be made on paper. We can also have digital portfolios. We can also have digital projects, right? We will be talking about all of that in a while, but I would request everyone to take a screenshot of what is displayed on your screen. These are the components of an ideal project. So when the child is making the project, he is or she is supposed to have all these components arranged in the right sequence in his or her presentation, in his or her project file. Now, how she puts it out, it depends on her creativity and the collection of data and the way she is putting it out, right? I hope everyone has been able to take a screenshot of the components of an ideal project. Now, we move forward and we talk about the next very important point, and that is how to help students select a topic. Now, tell me honestly, how many times it has happened that we give a topic such as find out more about William Shakespeare and create a project. We give them topics like create a project on photosynthesis. Now, when we give a topic like that, we are pushing our children to go to the internet and find out all the data and copy and paste and produce something which does not help anyone, which does not produce any desired result. It does not foster creativity or writing, communication skills or creative thinking. It doesn't promote anything. So when we are selecting a topic for our students, there are a few things that we need to remember. A, depending on the level of the children, we will also be talking about middle school children, we'll also be talking about grade 9, 10, and 11, 12. So depending on the level of the children, we will have to decide the complexity of the topic, right? But it can certainly not be something which is very vast and very wide, right? So we have to select a complex we will have to select a topic which is a complex real world issue depending on the grade of the children. After that, the students should be given the autonomy to conduct the research by on their own. The teachers are there, as Dr. Salam always says, the teachers are there to scaffold their learning, to scaffold the making of the project. They are not there to tell them everything. What you have to write on page number 3 or page number 5 is not something that should be dictated by us. It is something for the students to find out. So we have to grant them that autonomy. And then high level of engagement is required, whether it is a group project or it is a solo project. We have to make sure that the students are engaged in the entire process, right? It is not something that is done by the teachers or by the parents. It is the learner or the student who is doing it. And finally, it has to promote deeper learning. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time and paper, right? So that is why it becomes important to select the right kind of a topic. Now, when I talk about topic, how can we not talk about good and bad topics, right? So let us, spend a little time here. I'm going to display 2 topics in front of you, and I would like 2 volunteers from the audience to tell us which one, according to you, is a good topic and which one is a bad one and why. Okay. And this discussion is open to all. So you may also please use the chat box and tell us about your opinion on the two topics which are displayed here. The first topic says that the child will have to make a model of the solar system using thermocol, probably. And the second topic says, how we can have natural compost to boost plant growth. May I have a few answers and a few volunteers who would like to tell us which one do you think is a good topic and which one is not? Yes, you could rename yourself or you can tell me your name. Yes, please go ahead. Note 9 Pro. Okay, let's start with your name. What's your name? Please unmute yourself. Mr. or Miss, please unmute yourself. You have raised your virtual hand. Would you like to tell me which particular topic do you think is a good one? I can see a lot of responses coming in the chat box as well. All of you unanimously have said that number 1 is a bad project and number 2 is a good project. Wow, that's absolutely right. Ms. Reena has written that the second one requires the students to do it practically and come to a conclusion. Well done. That's a lovely answer that I was looking forward to. Absolutely. Connecting it to real life. The second one is good. Absolutely. Using thermocol is not an environment-friendly gesture. Wow. That's a lovely observation that you have made here. So yes, when we are, and trust me, both the projects that I have shown you, these are the real projects, assigned to students by school teachers. These are not something imaginary that I have come up with. So when we are assigning a project, we have to keep so many things in mind, right? I have so many different opinions that have come here, but you all have unanimously agreed to the point that the second one is a good project because it encourages the student to have critical thinking, practical analysis, data collection, and reflection. More importantly, right? They can get research learning and practically they can apply it to their real life. Absolutely, why not? We are talking about natural fertilizers, so they can always go to the kitchen and start collecting the vegetable peels and the fruit peels and the eggshells and start making their own compost, right? So that is the ideal way of looking at a project, right? It should yield the result that is helpful in so many different ways. One project, multiple purposes. Right? So now let's very quickly have a look at why the first topic is not so good. It is just visual representation. It is not research-based, no original investigation, no problem solving is happening here. So the first topic is a bad topic. Whereas if you look at the second one, why is it good? It is specific, right? It is researchable, right? And it is it involves real life application that can be used with data and observation. So imagine one project can go ahead and make so many, positive, bring about so many positive changes in our children and their learning approach, right? Yes, thank you so much. I got about 35 responses just to answer this question. So a huge round of applause to everyone for being so forthcoming. Now that we have realized that a topic has to be really well thought of, let us talk about the step-by-step guide about how to help our children prepare a project. Where do we stand? How do we make sure that the project making is a success? Creating a successful project starts with choosing a clear and meaningful topic that sparks curiosity. So that is the first thing that we're going to talk about. From there, students should plan their research, then they should organize their ideas, present them in a creative way, and each step is a chance to build real skills. From critical thinking to communication, because at the end of the research project, there has to be a presentation that is involved, right? You have to make a display and you have to practice presenting. So we are also laying a lot of emphasis on communication. Now, tell me something very, very honestly. Many of you would have seen, especially the students, who cater to the students of middle school and 9 and 10. The students think that decorating a project means you'll have to buy a lot of stationery and a lot of sparkles and ribbons and such things from the stationery. Whereas a research decoration is not about that. Here, creativity means something else. So we have to have very, very good quality, reports and very good quality projects in our hand from every year's collection. We have to make an archive of those projects so that we can showcase right in the beginning of the introduction to the project, and we show the students that this is what the outcome should look like. It is not about making it glittery. It is not just about making it, decorated with a lot of flowers and leaves. It is about what matters the most is what your outcome is, and how beautifully you are presenting it, how creatively you are presenting it, right? So we need to break a lot of myths. I have seen parents, running from pillar to post to find out stationery for projects. For God's sake, a project is least about finding this right stationery, right? It is about research aptitude. It is about organization skills. It is not just about finding stationery and where the stationery store is. All right, moving ahead. Now, let us talk about starting early, because we start helping students to develop their projects right from the middle school. If you're starting earlier than that, even before class 6, kudos to you. But class 6 is the day, is the time when we should start teaching research aptitude to our children. Only then we can expect that our children will grow up and they will have the right aptitude for developing a research-based project by the time they come to grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. It cannot happen all of a sudden, right? So sometimes when we ask middle schoolers to do a research or make a project, we get that look, do I have to just Google it? Because they think that the topic that is given to them can be just found, everything about it can be found in Google itself. They can just go and go through different websites, and they can find out all the data and then copy and paste. But here is the thing. Research and project making aren't just about fancy charts. They quietly teach the students and our learners how to think. They learn to ask the right questions. That is why we start with the guiding question and the hypothesis, right? Then dig through multiple sources. It's not just Wikipedia. It can be a book. It can be a newspaper. The source of information can be a visit to the local market, or it can be a conversation with the grandparents. It can be a conversation with your senior students, right? It can be a conversation with your canteen manager who manages the food department in your school. So a source of information doesn't have to be restricted only to Google or any other search engine for that matter, right? And they have to figure out what is actually useful. So in the process of their research, they're going to gather a lot of data. But research data collection is one thing, analyzing it and segregating is another, right? So they will also have to understand which data is useful, and that is huge, right? So in this way, we are building curiosity, judgment, decision-making, and so on, right? And this has to start right from the middle school. Plus, when they put it all together, in a project, organize the info, designing a layout, explaining their ideas, they are building communication also, right? They are doing it in a time-bound way. Remember the SMART goals? So they're also learning time management and creative thinking without even realizing it. And that is why we insist that middle school is the right time when we start giving them projects. However, that takes me back to the selection of topics. We have to remember that when we are assigning a topic to our middle school students, it cannot be of a complexity level which they are not able to match up, right? So when we are talking about giving them the right topics, we have to be very, very selective about it. Next, coming up next is a project showcase where I will show you how a middle school student has beautifully put together a mathematics project, okay? And we will talk about it in detail, its components and so on. So let's talk about these projects that you are seeing on your screen. So I have done a bit of research and put together subject-wise topics that can be taken up by the middle school educators, and we can help our students to build the research aptitude, right? I can see a lot of comments here. Yes, absolutely. Collaborative projects can be given. And that's a brilliant idea, ma'am, because, right in the beginning, if we give them individual projects, solo projects, they might feel a little overwhelmed. Whereas if the work is distributed and if the work is allocated, assigned to different classmates, and they make a group and make the project, no one feels overwhelmed, right? So that's a brilliant idea that ma'am has given. Absolutely right. So you can have a quick look at the projects that have been mentioned here. okay, subject-wise. Let's look at this one. What if there were no bees? Now, this is not a topic that you can simply copy and paste somewhere and you can find all the information. You will have to do a little bit of digging, a little bit of reading before you can put together the entire idea, right? Look at the next one. Budget a dream vacation. Trust me, your children would love to do this, right? They all have a dream destination. So if they want to go there, what are the things, what are the expenses that will be involved? Imagine them putting that together in form of a graph. They are putting that together in form of a chart. So much of learning can be involved here. But it is unfortunate that most of the time we see that the projects that come our way are so monotonous and are so information packed that students don't at all feel inspired. So once again, it's an earnest request to all the educators present here. I'm sure you always put your heart and soul into it. So from next time, let us also be a little careful when we select a topic. Now, as I was talking about a project showcase, I'm going to open this flip book. And no, this is a project made with Google Sites. Okay, so I'm going to showcase this beautiful project made by a middle schooler. Okay, and let's have a look at it and see how he has done it and what is the topic that was given to him. Right? I'm sure if the topic would have been something different, he wouldn't be so much interested. Right? It says math in daily life, budget a school canteen. So the moment you do it, the children will automatically take interest in it because they love to visit the canteen and they would love to see what, how they can budget the school canteen. So here what the child has done, let us have a quick look at it. It is beautifully made with Google Sites. So there is no, paper used here, paper involved here. So this is I would say this is a green way of making a project, right? So we have all the specifications of the child. Going ahead, we have the certificate of completion, we have the introduction, acknowledgement, and then the child has gone ahead and collected, what is this? This is a cash memo, right? So he has collected a cash memo, right? And he has tried to understand how much is the profit percentage, because, remember grade 8, they start learning about profit and loss, right? And he has also identified a driving question, right? And the driving question says, how can we use basic mathematics to plan, price, or run a school canteen efficiently while ensuring affordability and profit? So much can be done using this particular project. The mathematics teachers, half of the mathematics teachers' tension can be taken off if this kind of project is taken up, because the child is actively applying all the formulae, all the things that he has learned about profit and loss in this particular project, right? He did not stop and he went ahead, he took interviews. Of course, I have withheld all the right pictures, all the real pictures for the sake of maintaining confidentiality. But you can see that he went ahead, he took interviews and he gathered insights. So this is exactly what we are talking about, developing the research aptitude. And, as per his standards, he has put together the report in about 3 to 4 sentences, which is perfectly all right. Am I right? It is perfectly all right because he's a middle schooler and he's yet to learn how to conduct a research or how to make a project. The beautiful part comes here. What has he done? He has beautifully compared the cost price and selling price and profitability, right? For different canteen items. This is something all the mathematics teachers would dream of doing in their classes and having the children use this concept very confidently wherever they go to.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
finally,
Yes, Rohini, this
Yes.
is very good. Especially, data is very important, and it's a must
data is very
nowadays.
important. Absolutely, absolutely. And the presentation of the data, right? The way he has
Correct.
represented the data in form of bar graph, it is so heartening to see. And imagine he has done it so beautifully without adding any glitters or any such fancy items. All that we see here is a very creative output. It is very purposeful, yet it is very simple and apt for a middle schooler. And the moment you say, oh, you have to budget the canteen, they will have a big smile on their face, just like the way I have it right now. And they would love to take it up. Rather than telling them, okay, you do a research on the budget of this fiscal year. No, they won't be able to do it because it's beyond their means. And that's where exactly we talk about the setting the level of complexity right for a middle schooler, right? So going back to my presentation, I'm sure that you all would have seen this project, and you all would have understood how a middle school project should look like and what kind of topic we should take up in order to inspire our students to do projects right. Now, coming to the next, which is my favorite, we often put subjects in silos. Okay, this is your English project, this is your history project, and so on. But in middle school, as well as in grade 9 and 10, the projects which have yielded maximum benefit to the students are the multidisciplinary projects, which involves a number of subjects, right? These projects are where magic happens. Instead of keeping subjects in, separate watertight compartments, students get to connect the dots, and they would like to use math to budget for science solution and writing a persuasive piece for a social issue. So beautifully, the subjects are being intertwined, right? So for this, what do we have to do? We have to start with, again, a real world issue, pick a theme which are linked to daily life or current issues, include multiple subjects under it. This is something we all have been doing for a very long time and quite efficiently, I must say, because I've seen some of the best multidisciplinary projects in my life, and then setting learning goals and involving different subjects with a proper, I should say, with a proper purpose in mind, with a proper objective in mind, right? Let's look at this beautifully made multidisciplinary project. Okay, coming up next is a multidisciplinary project where the children were tasked with finding out about a hot spring, Tapta Pani. Okay, that's a hot spring, and they had to find out a lot about Tapta Pani. Why is it getting polluted? What are the ways to safeguard it, and so on. So let us have a quick look at this beautiful project being displayed here. See, this is the geography part of it, the social science part of it. Children have taken up all the geographical features and the waterfall and other tourist attractions that are present here. I'm so proud of this project. It's so beautifully put together and so well researched. Children have actually visited, and they have clicked pictures, and they have brought them back to back up their project, Now here comes the science part. All the problems associated with this hot spring, they have been put together. Moving ahead, here comes the mathematics part. They've spoken about the geographical positioning, the latitude, longitude, and its relation to all the mathematical aspect. The fun part is yet to come. Here is the interview, the language part, where they have interviewed local people and they have come to know different things about the particular project they have taken up. The beautiful part is that they have written a letter, a formal letter to the Chief Minister. Language teachers must be beaming right now, right? And they have done the research and they have presented the data in Hindi as well. Here comes the best part about the project. When it came to Sanskrit, they have written a beautiful poem based on this Tapta Pani hot spring. All subjects put together under one single, I should say, beautiful project, right? So, especially in the middle school, even in grade 9 and 10, when you take up a project, please ensure that at least one project in a year or at least one project per term is actually a multidisciplinary project. For that, all the teachers have to come together. It is not something that is commonly practiced, where we just float around a sheet and we just tell them, okay, this is the topic, right? What is your area? What the students have to do in science? What the students will have to do in mathematics? We need to put all our heads together and set those smart, achievable, measurable goals for a multidisciplinary project so that the outcome is as satisfactory as the one that we just witnessed. Right? That's a beautiful project put together by the students. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about are the science projects. Now, every year there's a science project in school, but we tend to forget that every year CBSE also comes up with a science fair, right? Every year that happens. So why don't we bring that, bring the two things together? When helping students with projects, make sure that their topic ties into CBSE sub-themes. CBSE gives a theme and multiple sub-themes which are age-appropriate, grade-appropriate, right? It keeps things focused and meaningful. So from next time, when you are trying to, give them a science project, it is my earnest request that you combine that, you club that with the sub-themes suggested by CBSE. Those are beautiful themes, and also they increase your school's visibility, your students' visibility to take part in the different levels of the competition, right? So that is all about the science project. Moving forward, we will talk about the language projects, right? Language projects don't have to be always on Shakespeare, or it don't have to, those projects don't always have to be, finding out more details about a particular author or a poet. It's a very typical way of asking somebody to do a project. Also, as language teachers, when we assign them a reading task or we assign them a writer, let us not go back to every time, let us not go back to Jane Austen. Let us also stick to the contemporary writers who the children are fond of reading. And then you will allocate them the work, and you will see that the outcome is much better. Also, instead of, when you are envisaging the project, let us not just think that the children will write, okay, this writer was born here, this is what he did, these are the awards. This is all gathering information. From your language project, how the child is going to get benefited, that is what we need to ask ourselves first before we allocate the project, right? You just saw in the multidisciplinary project how beautifully the children have written a letter to the Chief Minister of Odisha, asking the Chief Minister to take action and safeguard this beautiful hot spring. That is actually the real world application of language skills, right? So whether you choose a topic from literature, grammar, or culture, please define the purpose and learning goals, right? Research thoroughly using books, media, real life sources, and ask them to put together creative elements, right? We just know, students just know about sonnets. They don't know about different kinds of poems that can be written as a part of a project. For example, haiku. It's a beautiful way to express oneself, but in a very short and concise manner, right? Let those things brighten up our projects and make our projects worth the time that a student would invest, and what's the time that you would invest in grading them. Let's move forward and let us look at how beautifully this particular group of students have put together a project, a language project, but they have made it. Why I particularly am fond of this particular project is that they have not done it on a stereotypical concept like, okay, do it on Shakespeare, do it on Jane Austen, or do it on Ruskin Bond. No. What they have done is they've watched a movie, and the movie has left behind a lasting impact on them. So they have taken up mass media for their language project. How beautiful is that, right? So here this is a movie that we all have watched, right? And I'm sure this is a poster that will always remain with us. And there's a student who has taken the pains of painting it together. Again, it starts with all the right components, starting from the certificate of completion. Then we come to the acknowledgement and so on. Then comes the beautiful part, which is identifying the driving question, the hypothesis.
The purpose, right?
The purpose. If the child is able to find it out, if the group is able to find it out, then their research will move in the right direction. Now let us move forward and see, after finding the driving question, the children have put together their objectives. Now, of course, there is an index, and then starts with the introduction. What does the movie show? There are a few beautiful pictures they have put together. then they have come to the, they have made it beautifully interdisciplinary, even without probably realizing it. They're looking at the psychological aspect of it. They're talking about dyslexia as a problem that was shown in the movie. And then they have also mentioned what are the statistical data. What does the statistical data say? How this is a problem that is faced by children worldwide. And how does the society treat them? All you see is beautifully well-researched data put together in a very, very creative manner. They have gone ahead and they have interviewed people. They have interviewed people at random and they have found out who are the celebrities and who are the eminent people who suffered from the same disease, who suffered from the same condition, I beg your pardon. After that, they have gone into a case study. How beautiful is that? Right? And they have done a beautiful research. They have found out everything about this particular child and how he suffered and what parents should do to allow support and live their children's dream. And after doing this kind of a project, it cannot happen that the children will not have reflection. A vital component of a research. What went well and what could have been better? So the group members have put together the reflection. You can see the group discussions taking place. And finally, all the information that they have gathered, they have put that together. The sources have been put together in form of bibliography. Now, this is what we call as a compact project, a project that is packed with research-based data, its analysis, and its representation in the most creative way. And also, it is totally connected to a real-world issue, which is parental expectations, psychological issues, and developmental issues. All these things are totally relatable. Imagine how beautifully the children must have been benefited from it. So our language projects also, when the language teachers, whether it's English teachers or the second language teachers, you are assigning a particular project, please keep this kind of a purpose in mind. What are we solving? That's something that we need to understand. Moving ahead and talking about an economics project. Let's have a quick look at this beautiful economics project here. Let's see how children are solving real-life problems with their research and project.
Which grade is this, ma'am?
This is from grade 12.
Okay.
Again, I have withheld all the confidential data so that we maintain confidentiality here. Don't you think for a student of grade 11 and 12, career choices will be a very, very pertinent topic? And it is a very, very vast topic as well. So in this particular research project, you will see that children have done an extensive research. They found out what are the different courses available, what are the different career options they have, and how they can take help of career counselors in order to solve this problem, in order to answer, find answers to their questions. They have done a proper research and they have done a survey. They have represented the data in the most beautiful way possible. And it answers all the questions that a child of grade 11 or 12 might have in his or her mind. What next after grade 11 or 12? They have covered every single field. It's not, although it has come from a commerce class, but it is not just about the commerce students. It addresses the real issue of finding your career path after your grade 12 is done. Right? So again, we are going back to the, how to identify a particular topic, which is not only pertinent, also it is going to solve a real world problem. Now, there is another thing that we need to talk about in detail, which is setting a timeline. Now, what we do is, I'm sure all of us have this habit of creating a document in the very beginning, which is called as research guidelines or project guidelines. And there we tell the students, this is your deadline. By this date, you will have to submit your project, right? This is what is the regular, original, or, I should say customary practice. However, giving just the deadline may not suffice, because children still don't have the right research aptitude. They don't know how much time to spend on which particular task. But we also need to promote autonomy. So what do? We empower our children with tools such as Google Calendar, such as physical planners. They can even use their diaries, or they can use digital tools like Google Calendar in order to timeline their project. Okay, so by this time, I should be able to find out my guiding question and hypothesis. By this time, I should be able to complete my research and start with interviews and surveys. By this time, I should be able to find the representation of my data. By this time, I should be able to finalize how I am going to present the entire project. So this is called creating a timeline. Now, this is something every single learner needs to do individually. Unless and until a learner does that, what will happen is they will start the project with a lot of zeal and enthusiasm, but they will give up in somewhere along the road, because they will think that, oh my God, this is taking so much of time, and I don't know why it is not. I'm not able to find the final product. I'm just working on and on. I'm just not able to find out the final product, and my project is not ready. And that's where I'm sure there's so many teachers present in this room will agree with me that we have to run after the children, asking them to submit their result, submit their project. Isn't that so? Your project is pending. We even prepare lists. Oh my God. So let us not do that. Let us get into the practice of giving them the timeline where they have something very, very concrete. You can see my example here. I would love to show you my example, which is displayed here. This is how I ask my students to do. I teach in an online school. So this is how I give my project timeline to the students. And then I ask them to show me their progress using a Google Calendar. So in the Google Calendar itself, they put, okay, by this time, by this date, this is done. Okay, so there are checklists that are given. So starting from project initiation to the post-implementation review. So a project, after it is presented, the job is not done. After the project presentation, you have to review and you will have to talk about what went well and what could have been done in a better way. So that is called post-implementation review. So that also has to be taken into account when you are preparing the timeline. Now, once you have given this timeline to the students, it's like setting an alarm clock in the morning. When you set an alarm clock, you can snooze it for a couple of times. You will have to wake up. Right? So when you have the timeline in front of you, you may, sort of procrastinate for a bit, but then okay, these are my timelines. If I delay the first one, my second component will also be delayed. The next task will also be delayed. So it becomes very important to help the students in forming a timeline. This helps the students to track. It will also reduce the last minute stress, and it will deliver all the projects in time in a very beautiful manner. Let's move ahead and see what comes next. Now, when we talk about collecting data, it is important to give our children digital tools, right? And on your screen, I would request everyone present here to take a screenshot. All the icons that you are seeing here, starting from Padlet to Answer Garden, to EduPuzzle, to poll taking tools, all these things are excellent ways to collect data without even stepping outside. A student, especially in the middle school, high school, they have a lot of things to take care of. It may not be possible to really go out every time and conduct an interview. However, we all have WhatsApp groups, we all have email IDs. So once the student has created a survey form, or once the student has created a poll for that matter, he can gather data in a matter of 5 to 6 hours. Okay, let me just open this particular data collection form that I used for my students. So we were reading this beautiful story where a student is body shamed for her complexion. So we took up this social experiment and we made a project out of it, right? And here the students came up with this form to collect information. And they went ahead to ask questions like how often you have seen beauty standards defining you, how often you felt uncomfortable about it, right? What is your personal opinion, right? And then they have asked questions like what is your experience, your personal experience. And as you can see my cursor, how many responses did they get? 201. And this was done in a matter of 1 day. You know how? The students just copied and pasted the link in their description, WhatsApp description, and they sent it to all their friends and family members via email. So we gathered in a matter of 1 or 2 days, we gathered all the required data that we needed. And after that, all that you have to do is to go to the setting part, and you will find all the data represented in form of pie chart, bar graph, and so on. So collection of data has become very easy for us, but we have to enable our children and empower them with these digital tools, because this is the future, right? We will not be collecting data going from door to door anymore in the future. So our students should also be knowing what are the beautiful the tools that they have. So on your screen, all the icons that you are seeing, these are all survey data collection tools that are free of cost, and anyone with just an email ID can use them. So please take a screenshot of it, and next time you assign a project to your students, surprise them with this digital toolkit. Tell them that you can just go ahead and open EduPuzzle and share the link with all of us. We will punch in our answers. Or you can use a Padlet if it's a detailed thing that you want your survey, the people you are surveying, you want them to answer. You can always go to a tool like Padlet or Answer Garden for that matter, or Mentimeter for that matter, right? So I think with that, we have covered what all we need to understand and we all need to remember when we are assigning a project. Let us not make project making just a checklist, okay, where we put a tick mark. Let us make it a tool, a powerful tool that can cultivate all the different virtues and values that we try to imbibe, we try to inculcate in our students, right? With that, I will quickly have a look at the chat box. I can see a lot of messages pouring in. Thank you so very much. Yes, that's a very good question. Ma'am has asked whether it will increase their screen time or not. However, I will have to park all the questions for the end, right? That's a very good question. All the use of digital tools, whether it will increase their digital time or not, screen time or not. Okay, I'll answer that question. Please remember that I answer that towards the end. Okay, now we move to the next part of our presentation, our session, which is making a student portfolio. It is just like a learning scrapbook, isn't that so? You open it and you turn the pages, flip the pages, and you see your best work, your progress, your academic progress, your extracurricular activities, and so on. But then again, we need to make sure that the students understand what are the important components, and we need to understand that the students understand it well, right? So of course, a portfolio must start with student introduction and the purpose of making this portfolio. Then comes subject-specific entries. Then we come to classwork records, subject teacher assessments. Then we come to peer assessment. We come to class teachers assessment, self-assessment, achievement, and growth areas. So these are the components that a student must have in his or her portfolio. Now, I would again request everyone take a quick screenshot of what you're seeing on your screen right now. You can just give this as a checklist to your students and tell them that when you make the portfolio, make sure all these components which are essential for a portfolio are present in yours. All right, moving ahead. Now we are going to have, this is, according to me, this is the best part about today's session. I'm going to give you a very quick crash course into making a portfolio, or, you can even use it for your project making. And we are going to do that with the help of this beautiful tool, which is again free of cost, given to us by Google, called Google Sites. Okay. Now, CBSE and all the educational boards across are encouraging us to move to the digital space and make soft copies instead of making everything on paper. Not only it is a more, sustainable way, it is a more eco-friendly way. It also becomes very easy to track later. How many projects how many portfolios can we really keep in our cupboard? It is not possible. After a year or two, they're just given back to the students, or they end up in the junk. Whereas if it is created in the digital space, it is for the keeps, right? So let me show you how you can encourage your students to prepare a portfolio using this beautiful tool called Google Sites. Now, all that you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, you have to come to these 9 dots. Please follow my cursor. If you come to this, click on these 9 dots, it will guide you to this particular icon. Remember, it's not Google Slides, it's Google Sites. Okay, once you click on that, it will land you to this page. All right. There is always an option to start afresh. There is always an option to make your own portfolio. However, you will be surprised to see that there are existing portfolios or templates available, which makes our job all the more easier. Okay, especially for the students who have so many other things to take care of. Now, once I have selected, for example, in this case, we are trying to discuss student portfolio, right? So I'm going to go ahead and select a student portfolio template and open it. Let's open and see what magic we can do it here. All right. First of all, this portfolio has all the ready-made components that you need in your portfolio. Okay, starting from a space to create, to have your picture. All that you have to do, you have to go to image and you will have to change the picture from here. You can select from your drive, you can select from your computer, you can select from the internet. Okay, after that, you rename your title and you make it your, let's say, Ramya's portfolio, Shohini's portfolio, or whatever name you want to give it. Here, the child has given so-and-so's learning journey. That's a beautiful way to call our portfolio. Now, the next thing you see is that all the ready-made, spaces that are created for you beautifully, so that all that you have to do is just rewrite these, right? You just have to type out your information here. The best part is the areas already mentioned here. You have to write your achievements in your portfolio and you can insert a picture. Your strengths, your goals, everything can be inserted so very easily without breaking a head. What we ask, the students who actually make the digital portfolio, they end up doing it using Microsoft PowerPoint Word, right? Either Microsoft PowerPoint or Microsoft Word, right? They turn out to be very dull. Whereas if you ask them to use Google Sites, you will see that it turns out to be a and there is a lot of space for using the creative juices. They can just let the creative juices flow here. All right. Now I'm going to draw your attention to the next part of Google Sites, which are these 3 useful tabs. Okay, I will take you to the last tab, which shows us the theme. Now there will be one set theme here. However, you have the ability and the freedom. The students have the autonomy to decide how their learning profile looks like, how their portfolio looks like, starting from changing the font style to changing the colors. Everything is possible, right? I want the portfolio to look like this. It's just a click and the entire portfolio's look changes. Even the font size, font color, the page, the display of the page and everything. Then if we come back to the insert part, you will be surprised to see if I want after my introduction, after about me, I want to insert a carousel of pictures. All that I have to do is I have to drag and drop it here. See how beautifully it is done. And it is so seamless and it is so simple. You have to just drag and drop your content here. All the templates are already given. And trust me, it is not just restricted to images. Can you see the beautiful menu given here, the table? It starts from collapsible group to inserting calendar, to map, to documents, to YouTube links. Anything and everything is possible here. And for most of the things, the templates are already given. Now, a portfolio has multiple pages, ma'am. How do I make those pages in this portfolio? All that you have to do is go to the pages. All right. So I want my first page to be called introduction. So all that I have to do is I have to go here and I'll have to change this to, I have to just rename it introduction, and here it is changed. For the next one, I want this particular page to be called subjects. All right, so all that I have to do is I have to go here and I'll have to rename it, and it is done. Now, ma'am, I want to showcase my achievement in all the different subjects. How do I do it? All that you have to do is you have to go to subjects, click on this button, and you will have to add sub pages, right? So my first subject is English. So when I add English, it appears as a sub page under subjects. How beautiful is that? So when I want to create this page, all that I have to do, I have to go to this page and I can change once again everything as per my choice. I can again go to insert and I can add, say, this particular format here because I want to write my description and I want to showcase my certificates. That is also possible, right? And now I want this particular student to know that, okay, I have done this part and I now want to add images to my portfolio. All that you have to do is go to the images and you have Google Images. You can select images from your folder. You can do anything you want with this particular portfolio making format, right? And finally, I think that is the best part about this. If you are making a project using it, not just a portfolio, if you're making a project using it, you can just go here and share it with others. And it becomes a collaborative project. Okay, you say, okay, Ms. Ramya, Ms. Gigi, Ms. Vaidehi, you take care of this page, you take care of this page, you take care of that page. And the people you have collaborated with, they will be able to add content. So it becomes a group project so beautifully, a collaborative work so beautifully, where everyone is happy because they are able to use their creative freedom, right? Student autonomy we were talking about, right? Okay, now coming here, all that you have to do to share it with your teachers is go here and give it a name. Let's call it Vaidehi's. Remember, you have to use only lowercase. Vaidehi's portfolio. And you will have to go to publish. Now, once you share this link with your teacher, she will be able to give you everything. She will be able to grade it. She will be able to appreciate it. She will be able to share it with others, and everything is done. So it's a beautiful way to create your portfolio. And when you go to this part of it, after you have published, all that you have to do is to go back, review, and see what else will you be able to do. Now, unlike a portfolio made with pages, made with paper, this is a dynamic document, which you can keep adding because portfolio is made over a period of year, right? You start from term 1 and you end it towards term 2. So it's a dynamic document and you can keep adding your things here. You don't have to really stop, right? Now, after that, if you really want to see how my portfolio looks like, all that you have to do is go to this icon. And here you see how your portfolio looks to another person. For example, I have shared it with Mr. Biju or I have shared it with Ms. Ramya. How does it look like? When you add things, it looks like this, okay? You can go to introduction. This is what other people see. Then you go to subjects, and under subjects, you have all the other tabs. Then here you can probably add your extracurricular activities and all the certificates and awards you won. Another very beautiful and interesting feature, probably, I could go on and on, but I'll not make it very long. I'll just quickly tell you another beautiful feature here. If you're, if you are checking this portfolio on your phone, there's a beautiful feature here where if you click on this, it will show you as a phone display, right? And if you're watching it on a tablet, it will show you a tablet display. And if you're watching it on a computer, it will show you the computer display. And after you have seen it, after you have reviewed it, you have to just click on this cross button and you are back to editing mode. So you can create this, and throughout the year, whenever you get some achievement, whenever you get something, some appreciation, some reflection, you can keep adding to it. And by the end of the year, you will have a vibrant, colorful, packed with information and achievements, a portfolio that you will be proud to present. Do I have to run to the stationery? No. Will it be preserved forever? Will I be able to see it after 10 years? Yes, you will be. And you will take pride in how beautifully you created it. What else are we teaching our students with this skill? We are teaching them how to create a website on their own. This is exactly how even a website is created. So you might have seen that in some schools, teachers encourage students to create clubs and have websites for those clubs, right? For example, Green Warrior Club, and compile different kinds of activities under that club. This is another ideal platform where you can have those things made. Okay, now let's go back to our original presentation. Let's go back to our original presentation and see how a student has done this and how I have it saved in my drive. Okay, so let's imagine this is Gabriela's portfolio. This is her learning journey. She has submitted this. So she has written about herself. Okay. And then she has written about her achievements. Of course, you can understand all the real pictures have been withheld for confidentiality purposes. All right. Wow. How beautifully she has written that she is a member of the student council. That's cool. Okay. Now moving forward, I would like to see what else she has done. So I will just go to the next page. What has she done in English? See, this is the page where she has written the name of the teacher is Miss Denzel, and her competency areas were these. She took part in a debate. She took part in a role play. These are the certificates she got. Imagine how handy it becomes, how easy it becomes to, assemble everything in one place, and you can keep doing it throughout the year. And see, this is the assignment record that you have to maintain. That is also added here. It's a no hassle thing. Even the teachers can have a look and grade the student. Let's move to activities. This is another tab. So these are the activities that the child took part in. And she has put 2 pictures to show her achievement. How beautifully done, right? Now I would stop presenting this, and I will take a few quick questions before we move to the next part. Yes, of course. I will send all the links. Absolutely. No doubt about that. How to humanize the work. Okay, that is a very, in the era of ChatGPT, how can we do it? Absolutely. It's a very pertinent question. And we will, delve right back into it once we are done with our presentation. I will take up all these questions very quickly. But before that, let me quickly finish what I have in mind. Okay, you can see my presentation again, right? So also, when you are making the portfolio, make sure that the children have to include their peer review. And also, a simple peer review format can look like this. They also have to include their self-reflection or self-assessment. These are the 2 vital components of a portfolio. And finally, we see the difference between, this is the last leg of our presentation today. This is a portfolio made with paper and pen, where the child has beautifully put together. She is very creative, no doubt. She has showcased all her certificates in hard copy. So undoubtedly, this remains one of the ways of showcasing your portfolio, while the world is moving towards creating portfolios which are digital, because that is the future, right?
Ms. Sohini, you have
And
that
with that,
portfolio
yes.
format. Ms. Sohini, you have
the
that
format
portfolio format. Yeah, you can show that also. Manual
Yes, this is
format.
what I showcased, I guess. This one you're talking about, sir?
This is digital. No, on manual we
This is a
used to
digital
send.
one.
Yeah, on manual format we used to share. No, grade 9 and 10.
Yes, right. I don't think I have it included in the presentation right now. However, if this, teachers can have a look, these are the components of the portfolio that I showed right in the beginning. These are the components that we need to have. Also, I will also share the link with you so that you can have a look at the template, which can be made in, paper and pen. Right? Okay. So with that, I think we have come to the very end of today's session. And our key takeaways will remain these. I would request Ms. Ramya to very quickly tell us what are the key takeaways from the session before we move to the Q&A.
Yeah, sure. So the key takeaways of the session are well-structured project builds real-world skills and portfolio showcase growth, not just grades. Setting a timeline keeps students focused and on track. Peer and self-assessment build reflection and ownership. Finally, use of digital tools can take hassle out of project or portfolio making. So these are the key takeaways of this session.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ramya. And with that, I open the session to the Q&A. And I think I already have existing questions in the chat box. I would like to answer them first. And after that, if you have more questions, you're more than very welcome. Okay, the first question that I got was that, will it not increase their screen time? Okay, our children, our students will use screen anyway. Now, it is up to us whether we want them to use the screen in a constructive manner for learning something useful or just for playing video games. I think this is where, if they're using Google Sites or such digital tools to build their portfolio or build their project, they're making themselves future ready. So this is the right use of screen time. And it will also reduce the screen time, which they, the unnecessary screen time that they use or they waste watching unnecessary reels or probably playing video game. This will be the constructive use of screen time. So I think we as educators should encourage it. There is no shying away from the fact that we are moving towards a paperless future, right? And the more, the sooner we accept it, the better for us, right? Okay, the next question, very, very pertinent one, which was how to not have portfolios or projects which are completely mechanized and created by ChatGPT or any other AI model. That is a beautiful question. I think this is something we all are struggling with. You tell the children to make a project, the very next day the project is ready. What are they doing? They're not even going to Wikipedia. They're just writing the prompt in the AI and they are generating the entire project. That is not the idea. So that is exactly where we go back to our selection of the topic. Let's talk about the topic where the child has been tasked with making a project on use of the kitchen leftovers for making natural fertilizers and observing their growth, observing their effect on growth of plants. Do you think this can be generated with ChatGPT? No, it can't be. Right? Let us talk about that Tapta Pani spring, hot water spring that they wrote about and they discussed, and they wrote a letter to the chief minister because they were so worried about the health of the hot spring. Can that be created by ChatGPT? No. Also, it is a responsibility that comes on us that we have to build this research aptitude in our students so that they will not have to rely on an exterior source or an AI model to come up with their project. If the topic is interesting, in simple words, if the topic is relatable, if the topic says go to the school canteen and find out the budget and profit and loss, they would not go to ChatGPT, trust me. They would rush to the canteen and they would like to find out what is happening there and how much money that guy is making and how is he making that and what is the profit margin he is keeping. The onus is on us, ladies and gentlemen. We have to make sure that we are building the right research aptitude. We are giving them screen time, and at the same time, we are making constructive use of that screen time by teaching them futuristic tools such as Google Sites and so many other tools that we have. And number 3, the topics that we give, if they are intriguing, if they can tickle their imagination, if they can pick their imagination, I'm sure they will not resort to AI models and they would like to do them on their own, right? Do I have more questions here? I hope that answers your question. That's a beautiful question that you asked, Ms. Shafika. I hope that answers your question. Thank you so very much. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so very much for your kind words. Any other question, Ms. Ramya? You can spot in the chat box. We can quickly take them up.
No, ma'am, you have answered almost all the queries that the participants have.
Great. But I think it would be it would be wrong to close the session without thanking Dr. Salam. I had a very different way of going ahead with how a project should be taken up. But sir made sure that till the time I got it right, I don't know how right I got it, sir, but till the time I got it, what the how teachers will be able to be benefited from it. Till the time we went to that point, it is his mentorship that has yielded the session that has been so fruitful, and you are writing all those words of appreciation, like wonderful session and all. I think the entire credit from my side would go to Dr. Salam, because I don't think I could understand the topic very well in the beginning, but sir knew that how exactly it should be conveyed so that maximum benefit can be derived out of it. So from my side, I would like to thank all the attendees, and especially Dr. Salam, for mentoring me and for being so patient with me, for guiding me at every step. Thank you so much. And thanks to Ms. Ramya as well. Over to you, sir, and over to Ms. Ramya.
All right, thank you so much, Sohini ma'am. I really have no words to describe how beautiful the session was. To begin with the ice-breaking session, which was very engaging. And you gave a quick look at the SMART goals. And one more important thing I wanted to remind all the participants is that we keep telling the students to carry a notepad and a pen when we attend a session. And from this session, it's understood that you need to carry a notepad and a pen, because it's not just about listening what the person is saying. You will have to note down. These are the key takeaways that we got from the session. And one important thing is you touched all the subjects. It was being an English teacher, it's not just about English. You touched all the subjects, you gave idea, and you demonstrated it very beautifully, so that the teachers got brilliant ideas. And I'm really excited to go back to my students and give them new topics. And to those educators who really have got a list of projects ready with them, it's necessary for you to just throw it in the dustbin and start creating new topics, because that's what the new generation demands. We cannot depend on the traditional topics what you have got many years back. You will have to recreate it, and it is a collaborative work. It's not a simple thing to create a topic. Before you prepare a topic, you will have to understand what it is and then give it to the students. That's the key takeaway, and that's the most important thing that I want to remind all the educators and participants here. And I'm really excited, to go back to my students and help them with the beautiful topics that I can prepare from my end. And coming back to the participants, the certificate link is already shared by Salam sir in the chat box. I hope you have received the certificate link. And before we conclude the session, I would like to thank Abdul Salam sir and Biju sir. Sir is due to technical error, he is unable to join, but they have really supported, and the visionary leadership, the guidance, everything is actually why we are here in this platform. And to Sohini ma'am, the session actually filled with clarity. It was in depth, and your practical wisdom is something that we could see in this session. Thank you so much for that. And dear participants, you were so enthusiastic throughout the session. We could see that. And we want you people to come back to us. Come back when we come up with another session with another accomplished expert. So let's continue to walk together through Extra Mile. Until we meet again, stay inspired and stay impactful. Over to Salam, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Ramya. Actually, I am in a celebration mood. Thank you. So when these topics came to my mind, and immediately the picture of a resource person came to my mind. That is Sohini. So you are the right person, because very creative and very proactive in this teaching field. So I was pretty sure that you could do a wonderful job, and that was testimonied by the participants for their wonderful session. So kudos to you. Your efforts definitely we could have we had lots of glitches here and there, but you could go in the right track, and you produced a very good beautiful presentation. So thank you so much, with lots of information and inputs. So that was so appreciable from everybody's side. So keep going. Whenever we get a topic, Let it be a challenging topic, but we can,
Yes.
everybody, we can do it to our best, so that, participants, they will benefit a lot from us. So thank you so much, Sohini ma'am. On everybody's
Thank you.
behalf, I congratulate you. Equally congratulations to Ramya ma'am. Wonderful, wrap up. She has done a very, very good, summary of the session. So that is, that also, shows the enthusiasm, the knowledge that she has, towards education. So thank you so much, Ramya ma'am. Ramya
Thank you, sir.
being, a technological giant, right? Madam from the background of technology. I saw her immediately posting the screenshot of the summary in the chat box. So thank you so much. Immediate answer to the questions from the participants. So to the participants, we hope we could have, we have given justice your expectations. So keep connecting to Extra Mile. Many were asking whether this video will be available on YouTube. Definitely, as usual, we will be posting this video tomorrow for your reference, so that you can have, you can guide your students very well in project making and portfolio making. This portfolio making, format we have been, sharing in all the groups. Tomorrow I will be sharing to all the participants through the email along with the video link, so that you can go through and you can implement it in your classroom. But we would like to recommend you to use the Google Sites. In fact, I had given an orientation on Google Sites some 4 years back, I think, during the Corona period, and 12K people,
Right.
more than 12K people have watched the video. So
Wow.
that link also can be shared with through the meet.
Yes.
So thank you so much, both of you, Sohini ma'am and Ramya ma'am, and each and every participant for connecting with Extra Mile. Keep connected, learn more from Extra Mile. Thank you so much. Good night,
Thank you so much.
everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, Sohini ma'am,
Good,
Ramya ma'am, everybody. Thank you so much.
Good night,
thank
sir.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you,
Good night.
everyone.